Frank Tucker's Alzheimer's diagnosis came as a shock to his family. Less than a decade later, they made the difficult decision to move him into long-term care. As Here and Now's Henrika Wilhelm reports, staffing shortages and frequent calls home have Tucker's daughter now questioning that decision. She's worried for her dad's welfare. It's part of our ongoing series concerning care.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
My dad is the most hilarious man you'd ever want to meet. He's funny, he's caring, his whole life was his family.
All that disrupted 8 years ago by Alzheimer's. Then, in October 2021, Frank Tucker made the move to Pleasant View Towers in St. John's.
We felt that the long-term care, even though we hated to do it, it was the safest place for him.
Cherise Tucker saw a change in her dad last July after he caught COVID.
He was never mean, right? And he just got mean. If we weren't there, he sensed that we weren't there and he was missing us. So his behavior would escalate, and it would escalate to the point that, he may shove someone or he may, get in someone's face and yell at them.
Those disruptions would prompt staff to call family, and Tucker was frequently sedated.
Oftentimes, when we would get there, it would be so easy to settle him. It was very frustrating for us. We would just distract him. His favorite chocolate bar is a Wonder Bar, right? So you pull out a Wonder Bar and he'd go, oh yeah, I'd like to have that. And then he'd go back to his room, he'd eat his Wonder Bar, he'd settle down, he'd be fine.
But not all staff know how to restrain. One night in September, police and paramedics were called instead. They took an agitated Frank here. His behavior was caused by a psychosis due to COVID. Medications were changed, but the calls home continued.
We had to have a meeting and say, we can't handle this anymore, it's too much. The reason why we put him here is because we can't care for him. But now it seems like we're still caring for him full time.
For Tucker, there's a lot lacking. Lack of stimulation for residents, lack of communication between workers and management, and lack of staff. She says 6 workers care for 30 to 35 residents on Frank's unit.
You're dealing with patients who are trying to escape, who are incontinent, who are needing assistance trying to be fed. That's not enough people.
According to the Registered Nurses Union, 240 long-term care beds in the province are closed, unable to place people because of staffing shortages. One RN could care for as many as 40 to 110 residents at a time, sometimes more, on different units.
The expectation is that they're going to be cared for in a manner that you would care for your own family. And realistically, that's not what's happening today in our long-term care facilities because we just don't have the people.
Eastern Health refused an interview but did answer some questions via email. Of the 460 beds at Pleasant View Towers, 404 are in use. 481 nursing positions are staffed, 150 positions are vacant. Eastern Health says the staff-to-resident ratio depends on many factors. For example, on average, for the week of March 1st to 7th, 2023, about 31% of RNs and about 47% of LPNs and PCAs who work daily shifts at Pleasant View Towers were casual.
Temporary employees play a role when permanent employees are not available, but we're already seeing temporary employees' roles the numbers being depleted because they're actually working full-time equivalent hours themselves. They don't have time to do the basics. Have a conversation with a resident. They feel they're going into a room, doing the care that's necessary, and then exiting the room.
And for Cherise Tucker, that's not enough.
People have this vision of long-term care and, they think of some of the personal care homes that they have all these types of activities and stuff, but it's just not there. It's really not there. And I think if you have a loved one in long-term care, if you're not checking on them, they're not getting what they need.
Henrika Wilhelm, CBC News, Mount Pearl.
And our thanks to the Tucker family for sharing that personal story. If you or someone you know is struggling with home, respite, and long-term care, CBC News is looking to hear from you. If you'd like to share your story as part of the Concerning Care series, you can send an email to care-struggles@cbc.ca.